Welcome to CTV's broadcast of East China High School sports, presented to the community by Magda. Let's join our announcers now for all the action of East China High School sports.
All right, Saints football fans, welcome back to another year. Hot, sunny summer day as the Saints start the season 0-0 and welcome in the Blue Devils from Richmond High School. Same opponent that we faced last year in the opener. Alongside Bill Nesbitt, I'm Brad Robbins, bringing you the game today on CTV. And Bill, you know, I have to start. I'd be remiss if I didn't say, while I'm excited to work with you this evening, we will miss Coach Denny White, who passed away and has been doing this for a long time with me up here in the booth. So Godspeed to you, Coach White, and hopefully we do you proud as we start another season of Saints football.
You know, he might be missed, and honestly physically, but he'll be with us forever. You know, he was the kind of guy that had impact on everybody, and he's always going to be a part of us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Just a man of the community, always willing to step up and help. Kind of a selfless, in-the-background guy. Never asked for the shine, but we'll give him a little bit as we start the season here to start. And as we transition into a new season, obviously both of these teams coming off of a 3-6 season last year and kind of a lackluster performance are looking to get out of the gates hot. And while no first game is a must-win scenario, I know that this is going to be a very important matchup in terms of guiding how the season goes for each of these squads.
Yeah, and it's nice, like you said, to play to begin last year, game one. It's nice to renew these old rivalries. I was talking to a gentleman before the game from Richmond. First time he's been here since '94 when he played here, because we had that long gap when the local teams weren't playing each other. Right. So it's really nice to renew some of those rivalries where dads and grandpas and uncles had played in yesteryear. And
this, to go off of that a little bit, we did look up Brady Beeden here. Shout out to Get Stuck on Sports in a full suit down there in about 100-degree heat up here. But we were talking, this is actually Richmond's third most commonly faced opponent in the history of their football program is St. Clair. They're, I believe, 18-30 all-time against the Saints. So they're trying to pick up, another win here, and the Saints trying to knock them off on their home field in the opener. The Saints did win the toss and kind of oddly now for high school football elected to receive, and they're going to do that as Colton Bartels gets us underway in 2023. Ellis was back for the Saints. His brother Logan was a mainstay as a kick returner, and Peyton was the quarterback last year, but has switched positions to kind of model what Logan did, and I believe we have Ben Farkas, the sophomore, under center now for the Saints.
I do believe that is the plan this year, and they both look pretty good in the preseason. But I do know Ben seemed to be the under center, or I shouldn't say under center, behind center at their scrimmages.
Yeah, Ben obviously with the sophomore, and Peyton having that experience as a sophomore last year, but I think overall, if things are pretty equal under center, they felt like they could use Peyton as a weapon in some different places more often. And there you see him split out right away, and it is Farkas, and he'll take the first snap from the gun, 1st and 10. Got a little bubble screen. Looks like they're going to pick up about 5. Make it 2nd and 5. Come out and get the young guy a look to throw the football real early there.
Yeah, and a quick, should be somewhat of a simple throw. It's quick pitch and catch, so that's a nice way to get his confidence right off the bat for his first action as a starter on varsity.
Nice sunny day. No conditions now, but moved up to 6 p.m. because they're fearing that there may be some later. And this right here, you see the first flag go out. I meant to mention that, having done a lot of these games last year, one of the Achilles heels for the Saints offense, and they had a tough year scoring points. Defense held up well, but the procedural and the organization penalties, they were a problem, especially early on in the season. There you see the first flag there. Saints got to limit those.
And that's not uncommon, though, this time of year for most teams. Under center this time.
Farkas goes under center this time. Jet motion. Go around the end.
14.
Looks like that's Schultz, Braden Schultz, sophomore. It's going to pick up a couple there. Didn't quite get it all back, I don't think. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 8 or so from the 21-yard line. We saw at the outset, Richmond does have a weapon in Colton Bartels. He kicked his, an easy touchback. I know as a junior he's got some looks both as a kicker and a punter for some Division I schools, so kind of a rare weapon to have for an opponent. But last year, with it being such a low-scoring game, punter factors into that if that stays true this year.
Well, even if you're a high-scoring team, having that field position maybe makes a world of difference because you have a short field and can just add to those numbers.
Make the Saints offense work for it. Farkas looking to throw, kind of double clutched it, lofted up top, looking for Ellis there for the second time in this drive. It falls out of bounds, and that's going to bring up a punting situation, a fourth down and 9 for the Saints. And I believe Ellis is that rugby-style punter that the Saints like to use. We'll see their first snap and go at it here.
And I'm sure that's not what St. Clair was looking for. Like you mentioned, had a hard time last year scoring points. I do suspect they took the ball to start, which is unconventional just because there is possible poor weather coming later, so trying to get the ball while everybody's dry, and unfortunately just didn't come to fruition for what they were probably planning.
Penalty kind of stalled it out. Ellis back to punt. Freshman Dominic Benetti back to receive alongside Joseph Hollister. They send it toward Benetti, but it's going to bounce out of bounds about the 40-yard line where the Blue Devils will have their first offensive series. They're led by Anthony Benetti, a junior quarterback. I believe he was a sophomore quarterback last year, so a year's worth of experience under his belt. And going to try to flip the script here with some decent field position on their part. Try to go down and score. The Saints defense has been, last year was a strong suit for them. They're going to look to keep that consistent, I'm sure. Some big guys up front with Pennywell. Warziniak plays quite a bit at linebacker. I know Peterson comes in and assists as well. Big name that's out, though, is Willie Schroeder. Got a little shoulder banged up, so they're looking to get him back in a couple of weeks. Benetti's got the lime green cleats. Hands off for right away. We got a ball in the turf. They tried to hand it to Connor Bergeron. And right away, the Saints kind of got a hand in there. It was on the ground.
It looked like Cooper Pennywell not only caused the fumble, but also
recovered it himself. He got his big mitt in there, knocked it loose, and now the Saints get the benefit of that field position after what was a pretty good punt by Peyton Ellis. They're going to come out and give this another shot here from, it looks like, the 38-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Saints. Big play there.
And the two things that nobody wants to start with, either penalties or a turnover, and both teams each has done one or the other.
As you said, early in the season, these things happen. It's who's going to make the least amount of mistakes, not zero mistakes.
Well, I know it's a different level, but Bill Belichick always talks about you can't win a game until you learn how to not lose one. Oftentimes against two teams that are similar in ability, and we don't know if they are yet. But it comes down to, as you said, who makes fewer mistakes.
Jacob Luther on the first carry of this drive picks up a good little chunk, a long three, makes it second and a short 7 from the 35 for the Saints. Farkas still operating out of the gun. Snap's good. It's going to go to Ellis from out of the backfield this time. We've seen him as a receiver, and now he's going to run the ball. Gets it up near the 30.
I think that's going to be what they're trying to bank on this year is be able to run inside and outside zone to try to get the linebackers, safeties bite up, and then try to get something over top.
Got a mainstay of the offensive line at center, Cooper Secord, making some calls and getting everybody organized. I know Coach Bishop was excited to have this offensive line with some experience this year. Felt like with a coordinator transition last year, it was a lot of learning, hopefully some more continuity. Farkas gives quick there. It looks like it might have been to Gabriel, and that's not going to get him a first down. So they had 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 2, and now it's 4th and 2.
Yeah, there was great penetration that time by the Richmond front. the entire line of scrimmage was pushed back into the backfield.
Yeah, he was met right away.
Yeah, fortunate to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Looks like he gained about 2 inches, and he's going to get 4th and 2 here again. They're going to give it another shot. Richmond trying to sub late. Farkas is going to be under center this time, and Coach Bishop wants a timeout based on what he sees out of the Richmond defense.
And that's probably a good timeout if he wasn't 100% sure, because you want to take advantage of this early miscue by Richmond and get points.
Yeah, you can't take those with you into the second half. There's nothing wrong with using them. You don't know what you're going to have down at the other end of it. So, yeah, this is a big play already early in the game.
Yep.
Obviously, just a few minutes here into the first quarter, but this feels like you have a chance to build some momentum off that turnover, and you want to get your best play call here and get the ball into the right guy's hands.
And who knows, maybe they didn't have the right personnel, maybe not out there, or they looked and saw how Richmond had lined up and said, okay, it's not a good look for this play, let's get out of it.
Now, Richmond subbed kind of late there, so you wonder if they thought they had a matchup or somebody out there that they liked, and then it changed. So they want to get this one right. They talked it over, and we're back on the field and ready for play. Man in motion is Gabriel. Looks like it's Ellis that's got the almost like a wildcat formation. He goes back to quarterback, but they run like quarterback power, and it works. So a good call. It moves the sticks. Saints get the first down of the evening.
And that's one of the things you like to see at any level, certainly in high school in today's climate, that kids are unselfish and not have the egos of a quarterback saying, no, I got to, you can sub and move personnel around for the good of the team.
Yeah, that was a good call there. Obviously, it worked out for the team, getting them a first down. Nesbitt near side split. Schalk on the other side. Under center this time is Farkas. He gives to Gabriel right away. Not much there and a quick flag. Leads me to believe we're probably going to get a hold here, although it was pretty quick.
It was really quick. It was almost
you
like
don't see a hold on a quick dive. It's a chop block. Okay. That makes more sense than a hold, to be honest, based on the timing of that thrown flag. Nonetheless, another penalty that's going to put the Saints behind the sticks on a drive, that was going well.
Yeah, you don't want to go from first down inside the 25 and 1st and 10 to 1st and 20 outside the 35. That's tough.
Big thing here, having that, sophomore quarterback, is you don't want him to feel like on 1st and 25 that he has to press. You
got 4 downs.
You got to make your plays and stick to your stuff. Try to get a chunk play on the ground. That is fine. Good snap. They're going to throw this one.
Almost picked off.
Yeah, Jalen Browning read that pretty well, stepped right up. They were looking for Nesbitt, a guy that pretty well, out on the near sideline. The other number 9 stepped in front. Saints may have been a little bit fortunate there that he wasn't a second earlier.
Yeah, and you give him credit. He was probably thinking the same thing as you. They're going to try to just take a little bit at a time, and he was all over it.
Stepped up. You wonder if you're Coach Bishop, you write that down, though. Something with a double move later.
Yep.
That was pretty aggressive defense. So 2nd and 25 now after the incompletion. 7:03 remaining here in the first quarter. Farkas with a little play action. Got an option, rolls opposite of his body, gets decked by number 42, Connor Bergeron, the guy who fumbled on offense, makes a nice little pressure play on defense, and that ball falls harmlessly to the turf. Now you're at 3rd and 25.
Now you got to take a little bit.
You might have to take a shot here. Interception down near the red zone is just as good as a punt anyhow. Something to be considered when you dial this one up.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to get at least 10, 15 back. You don't want to go to 4th and 25 because now you don't have many 4th and 25 plays. But if you can get it back down to 10 or 15, you get a little better manageable opportunity.
Gabriel in motion. They're going to run it this time. Not a whole lot doing there.
Maybe lost a yard on that.
Yeah, that was number 34, Jack Wiegand. He's got some speed, but with that many human beings in the way, he goes nowhere. I think he went backwards another yard, so the Saints looking at 4th and 26. I would think punt has to be under consideration.
Yeah. Just like last time, too, I didn't catch this, but I think that's Cooper Pennywell punting for Saints so far this year. The first time, too, I thought it was.
All right. Pennywell back deep. Nice little pooch punt here. Takes a decent little bounce. Did it sneak inside the 20? Let's see how the official marks.
21 or 22, I think. Yeah.
It's going to be the 22. So after the Saints get a big turnover, force a Bergen fumble by Cooper Pennywell, the Saints can't do anything with after getting one first down, hurt themselves with a chop block penalty, and are forced to punt it away, give it back to the Blue Devils. But you got to figure now, Coach, that all the jitters are out of the way.
They should be out by now.
A little clean, yeah. Now it's just back to playing football.
Yeah, you got the first hit in, you got the first mistake, you got the first chewing probably on the sidelines from a coach for something silly. So now we're back in game mode.
Benetti hands that one off to Bergen. He gets a nice chunk there, and he's just shy of a first down, so it looks like he picked up about 8-9 yards there.
I know this is still early, like you were saying, but this is pretty traditionally the time. This is your chance to take that shot.
Yeah, you got second and short. Defensive backs need to be on alert.
But they might be looking, hey, we haven't got a first down yet. Let's just get the yard.
Get their legs underneath.
Yeah.
They're going to get a first down here as number 11, Charlie Heitzelberger is going to get his first carry of the day, and it's going to be a good one. Moves the Blue Devils out to about the 37-yard line and a fresh set of downs.
And if you're calling off plays right now, and part of you're saying, I want to take a shot, other part is like, there's nothing wrong with ever getting a first down. Never complain about getting a first down unless it's last play of the game. You needed 6.
Yeah, and right now there's nothing to say that those aren't going to be at a premium, so you want to go get what you can. Try to establish a drive here. 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Benetti out of the shotgun as well. Gives quickly. He's wrapped up there by number 55. That's Larry Warziniak. Takes him down pretty early, just a couple on that one. 2nd and 7 for the Blue Devils.
I think Larry's, correct me if I'm wrong, is a second-year starter also. He's a captain this year, so you suspect you're going to hear and see him a fair amount.
Yeah, he was up as a freshman. I know when he came in, there was an injury, so they brought him up right away. So he's going to be the guy next year that it's going to, I can't believe Larry still plays on this football team. But he's here, hopefully have a pretty big impact here on both sides of the football. Don Benetti with it, kind of strung out there wide.
That was Cody Avery, a nice read. Couldn't make the tackle, but did a nice job bouncing
quite
it.
Get him. It looks like Josh Phillips was able to clean up. You got a few. I see a flag here at the 40. Let's see what we have as a call. Legal block in the back on Richmond. So both teams stepping on their own feet a little bit here as Richmond's going to go backwards as well. Yeah, you mentioned Avery Cody with a really nice job coming out and stringing that play out. Benetti got around him a little bit. Josh Phillips was able to bring him down. But a good read. He was in the right spot. Yeah. Just that open field tackling. Clean that up. That could be a really big, impactful play.
And early in the year, that's one of those things that are always difficult because open field tackling, as you know, is a difficult thing to do to begin with. And you don't have many live reps yet this time of year.
Right.
Getting the angles right and getting your feet underneath you. And
that balance between keeping everybody healthy so they're available and getting people ready. Pretty nice size hole there as Bergen goes. Oh, that might have been. No, that was Bergen. Goes left side. Gets a chunk of that back. Still going to bring up 3rd and pretty long here. Saints defensive backs will be on alert.
Richmond has the last couple series have found a couple spots running the ball effectively, with the exception of the turnover and the penalty. They've moved the ball somewhat successfully on the ground the last 2 times they had the ball.
Yeah, definitely picking up some chunks. I'd say right now their offensive line getting a little better push than the Saints. Saints make a couple adjustments here. Pennywell goes over to the far side, switches with Carter Peterson. Snap goes to Benetti. Giving chase, but he's going to scramble. Yeah. He's got some room in front of him and lowers his shoulder at Gabriel and gets it. You almost wonder if that was play design, for that purpose. Just one option, and if you don't have it, run it.
It certainly could have, and certainly I think that what happened there too was, St. Clair looked to me in man, and that makes you very susceptible and vulnerable to the edge runs if your edge player doesn't keep him in the pocket. In that case, obviously they did not.
Yeah, no contain. You didn't see anybody stringing that out. So Benetti turns the corner, gets upfield, and gets a fresh set of downs. And this time it's into Saints territory as they've crossed the 50. Bergeron is behind Benetti. Going to give to him. This time a little bit better job up front by the Saints. That looks like it's number 23 leading the charge. That was Nick Reed right away.
Lost a yard. They have lost a yard on that.
Nice play there by Nick Reed, stepping in. And that is going to be officially a 1-yard loss. Back on this side of the 50 now. Second and 11 for the Blue Devils. Logan Northam for Richmond split out near us. The younger Benetti, just a freshman, goes in motion. Almost got hit with the snap, but his brother Anthony makes a nice play on a design run. Easy to identify with those lime green cleats. And gets all the way up near the 39-yard line. It's going to bring up third and short.
Yeah, it looks like that's something they're going to try to take advantage of is a quarterback run, whether design runs or the on the boots and rollouts. To use his legs.
Benetti does look plenty athletic, and I think this is where, just like Coach Bishop had to call a timeout to get his right, Coach Mesko for Richmond is going to use a timeout here in the first quarter to get their play call that they want. A little bit of a chess match here. Saints defensive staff going to try to guess, so to speak, predict what the Blue Devils are going to want to do. And this, just like we talked about with the Saints, this feels like, an important drive for the Blue Devils. I think both teams trying to establish some type of continuity and momentum, and they want to keep this thing going.
Yeah, and unless you're one of those teams with just loaded with edge athletes, looks like both teams are going to be of that mindset. They want to establish some dominance on the line of scrimmage and do it by running the ball and stopping the run. And so that's what looks like. It's almost like an old heavyweight fight that just in the first quarter or in a heavyweight fight, first 3 or 4 rounds, just keep punching until they break through.
Richmond just trying to wear on the Saints defense. They're holding up fine so far. It's going to be Benetti out of the pistol. 3rd and 2 from the 41. Just 1:16 left in the first quarter. And we may have a offside penalty. Oh, they didn't cross the line of scrimmage, and Richmond didn't hold serve after the timeout. That's going to frustrate Sean Misko after taking the timeout, probably looking each one of those kids in the eyes and telling them not to move. They did it anyway.
Yep. Yeah, they were. You could see St. Clair was coming, but they did hold themselves shy of the neutral zone and
didn't quite make it in. And because of that, it marches Richmond backwards to the 46-yard line.
And like we saw earlier with St. Clair, now you're going to have a head coach saying, "I just wasted a timeout on that."
Yep. Lesson learned. High school kids not in school yet.
Well, we still see those mistakes on Saturdays and Sundays.
No doubt about it.
Sometimes forget that.
Benetti's going to give that one to Bergeron. He's going to get a good chunk of that back, but it's going to be 4th down.
It looks like about 3.
Yeah, they're going to mark it 3 from the 42. And we're going to cross underneath a minute here remaining in the first quarter of football. Big play here upcoming.
I was surprised coming into this game tonight how many other local teams seem to be playing Friday. Normally this time of year, a lot of teams are going to the Thursday prior to Labor Day. So it's kind of nice, like you said, Stuck on Sports this year. Joe Hayes with his new sports coverage is down on the field with his camera, et cetera. So it's nice to get a little extra coverage today.
No doubt. Benetti's going to keep this one like he did last time. Pennywell's there. This time not happening. A big stop. Cooper Pennywell Fool me once, not again. And Benetti goes down, and they're going to get the ball back here with 23 seconds left in the first quarter in pretty decent field position. Nice play, Cooper Pennywell, to stop him on fourth down.
You know, that was a heck of a play because not only did he make the tackle, but prior to that, he was the one that bounced the play and then be able to come off that block, set the edge and still make the tackle. That's a heck of a play.
Yeah, he did a nice job. Showed some strength there. Shed a block, had pretty good technique, kept that outside hand free and wrapped him up. Wasn't a soft hit either. Benetti will remember that one. Farkas takes back over with the Saints. He's out of the shotgun. Low play action. Farkas rolls opposite hand here over top and caught there, I believe, by Pennywell. Lowers the shoulder at first. Kind of a wobbler, went out, but Pennywell's got good size, caught it over top of the defender, and nice gain, first down.
You know, it might look like a wobbler while we're watching it, but on the stat sheet afterwards or on the back score, it was a great pass.
They call that just having good touch, right? I mean, it was right where receiver needed it. That's a tough throw, having him roll out to the opposite side and having to flip the hips and the shoulder and get it away. That time, a pretty accurate throw. Gets the Saints a first down. Looks like this goes to Jacob Luther, and we got a ball on the ground again, and it looks like 35. Now, Joey Simmons, the senior for Richmond, is going to pick that one up. Jacob Luther had the handoff and fumbled, and the Richmond Blue Devils pick it up, and they're going to have good field position again, and just when we thought they flipped the momentum, the Saints kind of gave it right back.
Yeah, make the big defensive play. Nice, a big game on first down. You think you got some momentum going, like you said. And, both fumbles so far, one for each team, have not come from any big hits. It was just a hand in the right spot. So just, one of those, again, early season, you got to work on ball security a little bit more perhaps.
8 seconds remaining here in the first, and Richmond's going to give it a go again right at the 50. First and 10. Saints defense was just on the field for a pretty long time. It's pretty hot, Coach, so they're looking forward to this quarter break.
I imagine.
Joseph Hollister split wide. He's a sophomore for Richmond. Benetti takes the snap. Looked like number 11 might have jumped a little bit. No mind as number 64, Elijah Naylor, looked like he popped in there.
We do have a late flag at the end of that tackle. There was a flag. What it was for, we don't.
It's going to be holding as well. You may decline that.
I would hope so.
That's a 10-yard loss anyhow. Yeah, Coach Bishop immediately waving the manila folder in such a way.
And that's one of those deals where that's kind of been the trend the last probably 15 years at every level. Maybe 20 is after turnover you take your shot. That's your shot play. And I don't know if they maybe needed to have a little bit of a better play action to hold people or not, but defensive line was coming.
We'll find out what Richmond's got in store in this behind the sticks opportunity as we switch quarters.
East China High School.
Paying bills now? Are they paying bills now?
You're up. There's an old saying, you can never have too many officials. The age of the average official is 52 and getting older all the time. We're constantly recruiting new people, younger people to join us. After you register with the MHSAA, look on the website to find an officials association near you. They'll put you in a position to succeed as an official. We all learned a lot from high school sports, and officiating is a great way to give back to the game. There's help wanted, just whistle.
Touchdown, Columbia.
As the voice of Michigan student athletes, the Student Advisory Council's role
is to convey the message of how high school sports are supposed to be played.
We are responsible for helping the MHSAA maintain a positive and healthy atmosphere
so that interscholastic athletes may thrive.
We believe athletes should be competitive,
sportsmanlike, and excel academically.
We believe students in the stands should have fun,
but not take the focus away from the game.
We believe coaches should act as teachers,
helping student athletes develop while still keeping high school sports in perspective.
We believe that parents should always be positive role models
and be supportive of their child's decisions.
We believe officials commit their own time to high school sports.
And respect should always be shown and given to them.
The most important goal for student athletes is to enjoy high school sports
while keeping a high level of respect between all those involved in the games.
Enjoy the game!
Back to East China Stadium for the second quarter as we begin kind of the march toward some better football here. It was a little sloppy in the first quarter, but Richmond coming out of this second and very long. Benetti out of the shotgun, gives the Bergen right up the middle. Drags number 52. That's Carter Peterson for a few. Still going to be a tall order here for the Blue Devils. 3rd and 13 or so.
Yeah, I couldn't see if they pulled a backside tackle or guard on that. Now number 50, I don't know if he's a guard or tackle, but they did a nice job of kicking out on that time, creating a little bit of a crease.
Somebody got trapped and put away.
Yep.
3rd and 13 for the Blue Devils. Saw Benetti roll out earlier. He's got trips on this side. Wonder if they're going to send him this way. Try to kind of flood that area and give him the option again. See if the Saints are in man. Snap goes. Pennywell provides pressure, forces him the other way. Peterson's not going to be able to catch him.
Nope.
They were in zone, but Benetti went the other way. And that's just came down to a speed issue there as Peterson wasn't going to catch him. Neither was Pennywell, and Benetti scrambles his way for a first down to the 35-yard line.
It's so tough at all levels. These guys want to get after the quarterback, but they have to maintain their gap responsibility even in the pass rush, because that's what happened. Like you said, it was zone, but even in zone, you usually give up one area, and in that case, everything was to the defensive left, so the defensive right's flat was open, and there's nobody recovering the flat.
No doubt, and it is tough. You got kids, they see red, and they want to chase the quarterback. Bergen takes the snap from Benetti. Phillips loses a helmet out there. And looks like Bergen picks up a few there. Gets to the 31-yard line. Those viewers at home, game one for the kids, procedural penalties. Game one for us. Kind of a choppy lead into our first commercial break. Had some interference on the headphones. We got it working out, though.
Everybody's working through the game one kinks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Benetti hands off. It looks like Bergen there with a tough run. Still going to bring up a 3rd down. It's going to be 3rd and 4 from the 29-yard line. Keeping the ball on the ground. Clock is running.
As the second quarter wears on, you notice St. Clair's defense has been out a fair amount now lately because of with the turnovers, and it's going to be a gut check time for them.
Yeah, they're going to have to lock in and kind of embrace that preseason conditioning that they did. That's Heitzelberger there. He's not going to get enough for the first down, but you wonder if he set him up.
Well, maybe we'll find out how good that kicker is. Are they going to? He's got leg.
That is true. The scouting report was they felt pretty comfortable with him making a 50-yard or up to a 50-yard attempt.
But it looks like they're going with their offense.
It does. 4th and 3 from the 28. We're not going to see Bartels. We're going to see the offense. In these situations leading up to now, it's been Benetti kind of doing it on his own. Let's see if he decides to run the football again.
Let's see if they go to hard count maybe, knowing that St. Clair.
They do, and St. Clair bit.
I was just ready for, because last time they were a little jumpy on a tight, short yardage down like that, and kind of thought.
Yeah, that's a good call. The Saints jump, and last time, you're right, they went hard count, and they didn't quite make it into the neutral zone, and Richmond jumped, and that time they did it again. Richmond stays disciplined, and it's going to cost the Saints. So with the 5-yard penalty, they do pick up the first down. They're to the 23-yard line now. Benetti, the junior, drops back to pass. Looks out on the perimeter. That thing bounces harmlessly to the turf. Intended for Logan Northam. Nesbitt out there on some coverage.
And that previous play, you got to go back to what we were saying a minute ago about the heat. You know, as we know, when you fatigue, the mind goes before the body, really. And sometimes those mistakes are not a matter of anything more than just allowing your body to talk to yourself about being tired instead of focusing on your job.
Yeah, you kind of lose some of that perception. It's hot. You get a little hazy-minded, and that certainly plays a factor. Coach Misko for the Blue Devils trying to save his quarterback's legs. He's coming out halfway onto the field to deliver plays each time.
And you got to wonder how many two-way starters are on both teams out here. I don't know with Richmond how many there are. I guess it could be.
2nd and 10. We've got a procedural penalty here again. It almost looked like maybe one of the receivers left before the ball was snapped. And it is. They're going to back him up. It's going to make it 2nd and 15 from the 28.
You know, and that's one of those, you know, nobody ever likes penalties. Those one of those penalties, if it was on the wide receiver, that really will drive you nuts because he shouldn't even pay attention to the count. He should be looking at the football. There's no reason for him to even know the count.
No, he just needs to go when the ball's snapped. Trying to anticipate and get off early, and it cost them, so they backed up. Both teams just kind of struggling to stay on time. Daddy takes a good snap, a little bit of pressure there. Ball's thrown up, and his brother, the freshman, number 22, Dominic Benetti, gets loose in the secondary, makes the catch, and it's going to be a touchdown. Richmond, they're going to open up the scoring here with 7:54 to go. The Blue Devils are on the board.
Yeah, and when you see coverage like that, sometimes the kid, he was fairly open. Was it a miscommunication or just a kid make a mistake? You know, sometimes.
Cam Kaminsky was out there in coverage, and it almost looked like he kind of undercut the football instead of pursuing it on the deeper angle, and Benetti's ball went over top and right to his brother Cameron. There's Bartels. Splits the uprights and gets a little extra. Still only counts for one. Doesn't matter if it was good from 50. And with 7:54 to go in the second quarter, the Blue Devils are on the board and lead 7-0. That defense was on the field a long time in the heat, so this offense right now, they kind of owe them one.
They do, but you know, again, there's a handful of kids out there. You mentioned Pennywell and Ellis and Nesbitt and Warziniak. Some of those guys are playing, but on the defense the whole time. So, but it does tend to affect the guys in the line of scrimmage a little bit more because they're constantly in each other's face and leaning on each other. There's no rest on the line of scrimmage. There shouldn't be anywhere, but certainly that's.
Coming off the ball each time and having a collision. They've certainly been on the field a lot. So Bartels, after the exclamation extra point, is going to kick it off here. Luther and Ellis deep. Not sure they're going to get an opportunity. Bartels with the boot. Does look like they may, but a lot of hang time here.
He got it up high, though, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
That's an equal weapon, too.
No doubt about it. We mentioned that at the beginning. Ellis had to return it because it went way in the air, almost like with punter hang time. And
shy of the 15.
is caught at the 2. And because of how much time the kickoff team for Richmond had, they were able to corral Peyton Ellis real early. And Saints are going to have not great field position to begin their drive here midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, that's a kind way to put it.
Not great.
Not
That's how we're going to frame it here on a Saints heavy broadcast. Farkas in the offense, looking to get it going a little bit. They're going to roll him to his throwing side this time. He goes over the top, leaves that one a little short, looking for Nesbitt. Looks like Jalen Browning there on defense again.
Yeah, and that right now, you almost have to wonder either A, did he not get enough air under it, or did Nesbitt run too deep of a route? Because it was on such a line of a throw They almost, again, you wonder, is that miscommunication or just, underthrown?
So that one falls to the turf. A lot of, I'll say, early in drives, or I guess on first and second down, we've seen the Saints look to go to the air. I mean, they started the football game that way. It's starting to become a trend. Now Farkas is not the quarterback. They go back with Ellis. He ran the ball earlier out of this formation. This time makes a read and keeps it. Doesn't go anywhere. No gain. Maybe picking up some of the celebration from the Richmond coaches, and deserved that time. They were pretty disciplined, stayed home on that formation. Ellis is going to come off. Farkas getting the call from Coach Bishop, re-enters the game. But again, 3rd and 9 from that not-so-great field position. The Saints feeling like they've got to pick up a first down. Down 7-0. They don't want to have to punt because Richmond will have the field flipped.
Yeah, it'll be a great chance for them to really have outstanding field position once again. The flip side is you can't be so desperate that you turn the ball over by forcing a throw, or a punt's better than a turnover.
No doubt. They're going to throw. They kind of pop pass over top. Nice look there, quick read, and that goes to Max Hunger. Really nice little play call, and that was just kind of a one-read play. They flip it out to Max, and Farkas, I know it was a one-stepper, but that was the best ball he's thrown. He kind of darted that one through, and good hands there by Hunger.
Yeah, he looked very decisive. There was no hesitation in his throwing motion whatsoever. That was nice. And if I may add, just a great name, Maximus.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Maximus Hunger.
That's how I feel sometimes.
On the all-name team for sure.
He should be doing Snickers commercials.
Well, shout out to Jets, Kevin Kerbrat. Thanks for the pregame meal.
Otherwise, you'd have Maximus Hunger right now.
That's correct. There's only one Maximus Hunger, and he just made a nice play.
That's how you stop the ball.
Saints first down. They decide to go to the ground this time as opposed to that trend. Jack Wiegand tries again off the right side. Only one, though. And part of the reason I think the Saints are continuing to throw the ball is because when they've tried to run it in standard formations, it hasn't gone great.
No, and it's one of those, you're looking to tweak things, but you also, if you believe in what you're doing, you can't abandon it after one quarter at the same time.
No, philosophically, you just kind of got to wear on them and trust your stuff. And the kids will pick up, things that work throughout the game. So got to share the carries. This one goes to Gabriel. Gabriel sheds the first tackler, kind of covers up and goes down, though, as Jacob Fink takes Gabriel down at about the 30. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 9 for the Saints again. So Gabriel was able to break the first tackle, but not the second. It almost seemed like if he could have broken that one, he may have been able to pick up a good chunk. But Fink wouldn't let him go.
No, and their defensive end, Richmond's defensive end at that, did a nice job at, didn't really give Luke a chance to bounce it around the edge because there was room to the outside, but he just couldn't get there. He had to cut inside that block.
So the Saints on 3rd and 9 again. Probably can't go back to that pop pass. Let's see what they have in store. Schalk near us, Nesbitt on the other side. They roll Schalk's way. They throw to Schalk. He's going to pick up a chunk, and the ball came out. It was hard to see from here. The official looks indecisive, to say the least. He does have one hand up, and he's going to say that the Saints held on to it. So now they got a decision to make here. 7-0 ball game. They picked up a chunk, but not a first down. It's going to be 4th and 3-ish. Do you punt here and bring Pennywell out to try and pin the Blue Devils back?
And maybe they try, what Richmond did. Maybe they try to draw them off sides. You got the timeout. Why waste it? You get a cheap first down. If not, you send your punt team out.
No doubt.
And give Richmond only, less than 4 minutes left and go a little.
Yeah, I think you come out here and you try to draw them, and if you don't get them, you might see Coach Bishop burn one and send the punt team out. Nonetheless, 4th and a long 2. They're at the 37. Farkas trying to draw. Richmond only moves in the second level and not the first, and it's almost like you and I have seen a football game before.
And I give the Richmond defensive line and their coaching staff credit because not only did they not jump, but their defensive line was backed off about a half a yard from the ball, anticipating that and knowing that half a yard wasn't going to be the difference between the first down and it could have been the difference on the flinch and given the first down. So.
No question. So now something interesting. We've seen Pennywell punt but it looks like Ellis is back. It probably opens up a few more fake possibilities when you have Ellis as your punter. I know that they liked to roll his brother Logan out and let him make a read and then punt. It'd be interesting to see if he goes to the field side, takes a look and sees how much running room he has with it just being 4th and 2. Obviously, he's set back as the punter, so he's going to have to make it about 15 yards. Saints shift unbalanced that way. Snaps a little low, and they are going to punt it. He gets it right between the two Blue Devils. And Liam Nesbitt's going to track that down and let it come to rest at about the 28-yard line.
You know, and as probably many fans are look at something like that are disappointed for Saints fans anyway of not being able to convert and get down the field and split the points. That's a successful drive. You started inside your own 15, ate some clock up, and things were tough. You were able to get a couple first downs, and now you did flip the field. Now you put Richmond back inside the 30 anyway, as opposed to for a minute it looked like if they didn't get that first down, they better get the ball on the 50 with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, it didn't bear any fruit on the scoreboard, but that was, to your point, just as a successful drive in this game as one that does score later perhaps. So if they're able to get a stop here with 3:37 or perhaps get the ball back, could go a long way. They're going to give
turnover so far.
Can the Saints string them out a little bit there? Only gets a couple. Looked like more than it actually was. Nice job by Hunger again. Kind of strings it out and finishes the play. Bergen picks up 2.5 on the play. We're going to call it 2nd and 7 on the board. Just to the 30-yard line are the Blue Devils.
And then again, now if you're Richmond, you'd like to get that score before the half begin. But if not, again, you don't be desperate because they're going to get the ball to start the second half.
That's right. The Saints did elect to receive, as we mentioned, which is a rarity. You know, you very typically see a deferral. You mentioned the possibility of weather, which I didn't even think of. So good call there. Unfortunately, the Saints didn't score on it, but you're right. The Blue Devils need to be, smart and not in a hurry here. Bergen gets a carry off left side, doesn't go very far. It's going to get maybe one. It's going to bring up 3rd and long. I think Ellis came in and made a tackle there.
You know, I've even been a part of situations before in those football fields. Every once in a while you get one that goes east-west instead of north-south, and you make your decision based on where the sun was, if it's going to be in your eyes offensively or defensively. And so sometimes there's those weird situations where you go out of convention just for some strategic purposes.
So it's going to be third and 6 from the 31, time ticking away. 2:02 left here in the second quarter. That twin split, and Coach Misko wants to talk about it. So they're going to burn one here, trying to pick up that first down, knowing that I think if this is a passing play that falls to the turf, the Saints are going to probably get a punt with one timeout in their back pocket.
Yeah, this is one of those deals when you're the offensive coach, you're saying throw the ball, get the first down, let's try to score. If you're defensive coach, you're saying run the ball. If you don't get it, use the clock, maybe takes their time out. And, it's one of those, what side of the ball are you coaching determines your strategy.
Yeah, how aggressive you want to be based on how much time's left in timeouts. But, yeah, you're right. Offensive-minded people are going to want to chuck the ball and pick up the first down and get this thing moving. And there's things to be considered here, to say the least. That's part of it for Coach Misko and his staff. Do you just run the football here and see if you can pick it up? And if you don't, do you just let that clock run or force Coach Bishop to use that final timeout of the half that he's got?
Yeah, and again, you could look at, like you said, Coach Misko and the whole Richmond staff, and then maybe their fans are saying, look, we don't want – the last thing you want to do is give St. Clair momentum with a turnover by throwing the ball, by giving them more time on the clock.
Well, the mystery will unfold here. Elijah Naylor up front. Warziniak showing a little pressure, doesn't go. They're going to string this out. Peterson gives Benetti chase. Benetti with a pump fake gets Peterson to miss, but he's going to be knocked out there at about the 34-yard line as Warziniak, who kind of feigned like he was going to blitz, ends up making the bump of Benetti out of bounds at the 35-yard line. It's going to be a healthy 4th and 5, and it may have been a natural clock stoppage with him going out of bounds, so the Saints don't even have to use the timeout. and it looks like Colton Bartels is on to punt, so a pretty good outcome there for Coach Bishop and the Saints.
Yeah, and that time, unlike the last time, they had great coverage downfield. He was looking to go over top again, and it was completely taken away, as well as they had a guy underneath for anything coming out, from the opposite side of the field. So great job that time by the defense.
Snap goes through the hands of Bartels. He recovers nicely and gets one off. I don't know what the flag is. We're going to find out here in a second, but he may have to do that again.
He might. That may maybe a hold in the backfield there when they're trying to get pressure. It looked like the snap was fine. It's one of those deals, just like as a baseball player, sometimes you try to throw it to first before it's in your glove, and I think that same thing happened just now for him.
That, and it is hot and muggy.
Yes.
So, there's some moisture on, well, there's some on me, so there's got to be some on them. So the Saints, because I think of how good a punter Bartels can be, they decline that penalty and elect to just kind of take the bobbled snap and result of, the 35-yard line, because I think Bartels might be capable of pinning them deep even with that penalty.
I agree 100%. I think it's a good decision, not only because his ability to punt, because if he does punt and you pick up 5 yards but you lose 8 seconds,
correct,
it's a loss. The time is now the essence as much as yardage.
So early in the season, we're going to get to see perhaps the Saints try a little bit of tempo here. Minute 39 with one timeout, down 7-0. There's no reason, especially because Richmond is going to get the football in the second half, to not give it a go. You just wonder if that tempo package is really all installed at this point.
Well, they're going tight bunch, so you suggest you're doing something to the wide side out there, something to get spreads.
They did have a look for Gabriel. They go up for Schalk, and a pretty good ball, but a really nice job in coverage by number 12, Luke, Pastuchin, but a really nice job, because Schalk did a good job of adjusting and coming back to that football, and Pastuchin did a good job knocking it away afterward. I did notice on the other side of the field, Gabriel kind of trotted out into the flat area all by himself. They elected to go with the deep one.
And you can't say it was the wrong decision because it was there. The throw was there. The kid just made a nice play on the ball. Maybe if he high points it and strong hands it, maybe it's a different story. But nonetheless, it was a nice play at the end by the Richmond defensive back.
Yeah, good ball and a pretty good adjustment by Schalk. Just couldn't come down with it. Farkas going to hand this one off. It looks like that's Jacob Luther. And number 35, Joey Simmons, comes up and makes the stop. Saints lose one there. Now you wonder if they're just going to let the clock run as far as they can, run the football one more time, try to get to the half, just down one score.
I would suspect that's probably what they're going to do. Again, maybe it would be one of those where they can get a rollout type of play, and if he sees, some, I wouldn't say grass, but some green turf anyway in front of him, run to get the first down if you can. If not, like you said, the clock continues to run.
Coach Misko elects to let this run one more time. He may use his timeout after this play if the clock is still running. Force the Saints to try to snap and catch a wet, muggy ball also on a punt play.
Yeah, I would anticipate if St. Clair does not get the first down here, I can't believe he wouldn't.
They give that one to Ellis as the dive back, and we're at 36 seconds. Now that it's 4th and 3.
Clock's still running.
I don't see Coach Misko pressing it here for a timeout.
So if he's not, St. Clair now can run a last play anyway. They can snap the ball with 3-4 seconds and try to get a big.
See if you can break one.
Yeah.
That does appear like.
Go up top. If you don't get it, no harm, no foul.
Richmond playing way off the receivers here, giving plenty of cushion. This very likely, barring a penalty, will be the last play of the half. They're just going to run a dive. Ellis does not get the first down, but there are all zeros on the clock. I think they're going to try to lobby for a second. I'll bet they don't get it. So the Saints and Blue Devils are going to the half. Blue Devils lead on a Benetti to Benetti connection from about 35 yards for the lone score of the half. Some miscues that they're going to go work to clean up. Both coaches have plenty to say, I'm sure, and we will when we come back after this halftime break here on CTV.